officers in uniform who engage in criminal activity instead of protecting citizens must be brought to book, held to account decisively, efficiently, so that we can restore the confidence of citizens in our security apparatus.
Yes, the moment is the month of depending on your time zone and your location. That's about the 27th day of June 2025. Tata Kone 4 years. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was illegally rendition back from Kenya. Inanya from your screen, if his barrister and legal team barrister Aloy Ejimako, Apatago with that drop on his official Twitter handle. Inanya and anyway, update from the Kenyan Nairobi government concerning the illegal rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu back from Kenya to Nigeria. Kenya government Apatago Webia Webia confirm or confess at the same time that's na aga Mazi Nnamdi Kanu damages. Webia confess that na Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was actually illegally renditioned back from Nairobi, Kenya to Nigeria. Nga go tell the updates go no kosi we na that because na agwara muna agwana na only the truth can stand the test of time. So and all these things coming out now get speedy up the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on the 18th of July. Just drop a big idea. They write it down in your diary. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu we are the next court sitting the day I get able for the no case approval. Because with all these things coming out, all these evidences, all these expositions, it will help the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Can go down the update without saying much. Now on your screen again, I found the update says.
Breaking: Kenyan court declares Nnamdi Kanu abducted and rendition to Nigeria illegal. Awards 120 million naira in damage. A high court in Nairobi, Kenya was ruled that the abduction and detention of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and his subsequent rendition to Nigeria in June 2021 were unlawful and illegal. Delivering judgment, Justice E.C. Witter held that the actions of both the Kenyan and the Nigerian government amounted to gross violation of Kanu's fundamental human rights as protected by their respective constitutions. The court also awarded Kanu 10 million Kenyan shillings in compensatory damages against the Kenyan government for its role in the unlawful abduction and rendition. Justice E.C. Witter said, having considered the pleading and arguments by parties, the decision relied on the constitution and the law. I come to the following conclusion. First, the government of Kenya violated the constitution and Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's rights and fundamental freedoms. Having entered Kenya lawfully, he was subjected to the protection offered by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and the government of Kenya had an obligation to uphold and protect the rights and fundamental freedoms. Mr. Nnamdi was, however, abducted, kept in solitary confinement, tortured and denied food and medication, a breach of basic rights. He was chained, humiliated, ridiculed, and held in contempt, and later forcefully removed from Kenya without following the law in violation of his rights and fundamental freedoms, for which the government of Kenya is liable. Based on the above constitutions, the court makes the following declaration and others it considers appropriate. A declaration is hereby issued that the abduction of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, holding him in incommunicado confinement, torturing him, and denying him food, water, medication, and other basic necessities was a violation of his rights and fundamental freedom. A declaration is hereby issued that the abduction and subsequent forcibly removal of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria was in violation of the laws of Kenya. His rights and fundamental freedoms, including freedom of movement, security of the person guaranteed by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and therefore unconstitutional and illegal. An order for compensation is hereby issued, awarding Mr. Nnamdi Kanu general damages of KSHS 10 million against the Attorney General of Kenya on behalf of the government of Kenya for violation of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's constitutional rights and fundamental freedom. Meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has hailed the judgment as a landmark victory, saying it vindicates the group's long-standing position since what it was described as sham and physical trial of its leader in Nigeria. A statement signed by the IPOB spokesperson, Ima Powerful, read, "The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, wishes to formally announce a resounding judicial earthquake that has shaken the legal foundations of fraudulent rendition of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In a historic, courageous, and landmark judgment delivered on June 24, 2025, the High Court of Kenya, sitting in Nairobi, found that the abduction, incommunicado detention, torture, and illegal transfer of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria in 2021 June was unlawful, unconstitutional, and a gross violation of his fundamental human rights under Kenya and international law. This judgment vindicates our consistent position that what transpired in Nairobi in June 2021 was not extradition but extraordinarily rendition, a criminal act of state-sponsored international terrorism involving the highest authorities of the Nigeria and Kenyan governments. We are grateful beyond measures to the brilliant legal leadership of Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, lead counsel in the Kenyan litigation, whose courage, clarity, and tenacity led to this monumental legal victory. IPOB also extend heartfelt appreciation to the Kenyan judicial, especially Honorable Justice E.C. Mwita, who stood tall against ferocious political interference and international diplomatic pressure to deliver a fearless judgment grounded in law, morality, and constitutional justice. We know, and now the world must acknowledge, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not commit any crime in Kenya. He entered Kenya lawfully as a British citizen. He was abducted in broad daylight at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by agents of Nigerian secret police in collusion with rogue elements of the Kenyan security apparatus. He was chained, tortured, denied medication, and eventually bundled onto a private jet and flown illegally to Abuja without any extradition hearing or judicial warrant. This verdict places a permanent and indelible legal stain on the records of former President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, and former Attorney General Abubakar Malami and their accomplices. It also exposes the criminal lobbying missions embarked upon by Nigerian leaders, from Buhari, Osibanjo to Tinubu and Shetima, all of whom tried and failed to manipulate Kenya's judiciary to cover up this international condemned act of extraordinary rendition. Let it be known that this is not the end. This is the beginning of a global accountability campaign. All those responsible in Kenya, Nigeria, or elsewhere shall be pursued to the end of the earth under the universal principle of accountability for crimes against humanity. Neither British diplomatic complicity nor cowardly silence from Western powers will shield the perpetrators from the legal, diplomatic, and moral reckoning that is coming. To Justice E.C. Mwita, we say thank you for your judicial bravery. To Professor P.L.O. Lumumba and his team, we salute your exceptional advocacy. To the oppressed people of the world, this is your victory, a warning to tyrants that international borders will no longer shield criminal regimes from justice. The statement added. So guys, una fugono kosi we di inanya na screen again ifukwa another update regarding this same news from the official Twitter handle of Barrister Aloy Ejimako Esquire Legati Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Can go target updates ifukwa kosi we there tweet here this afternoon, and the update says, as the Kenyan High Court rules against the extraordinary rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I make bold to commend Professor Lumumba, our Kenyan lead counsel, who worked closely with me, Kanunta and Prince Emmanuel for their tenacity and fraternity, and Justice Mwita for the judicial courage. Inekwanya for some document or drop regarding this particular update. So for this update, this is a good move for Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Agwaramuna was just date where somewhere Mazi Nnamdi Kanu game on the 18th, because Kenyan government has actually pushed and speeded up now the trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to a final conclusion, whether a no case submission or not. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu game no. This is the updates we are getting. All right, so now we're going to the updates because we did, and this is coming from the Kenyan government. And what much equal again? The update the Romeo self-explanatory. Enough for this video because make sure on to start the video. It drop on the comment section. Freedom for the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Free MNK now. Thank you guys. See you in my next video. Yeah, guys.